Hi, I'm Anne. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag for 2022. I think I did this last year, but it's tradition on BookTube to do this tag to just look back at the books that you've read in the first half of the year, as well as look at what books you want to read for the rest of the year. There are 13 questions in here, and I'm just going to breeze through them very quickly. Number one, best book you've read this year. This was a tough choice because I have quite a few that I absolutely loved. I'm sorry, I just bumped the camera. But I think I'm going to go with The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It was a tough call because I do have quite a few 5 stars from this year, but I feel like this one is subjectively and objectively the best book that I've read this year. It makes me want to read more Fyodor Dostoevsky books. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far. For that one, I'm going to go with The Silent Parade by Kigo Higashino. So this isn't a new book, but I believe it was translated either at the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. I'm so sorry if you hear Loki. He's just being a weirdo. But it is a Japanese murder mystery, basically. But it's much more psychological than most murder mysteries I read. It's an exceptional understanding of human nature. And I read it, I believe, back in January of 2022, so highly recommend it. But it is the 8th book of the Detective Galileo series, and I believe it's the 3rd book I've read of the series. So it's translated out of order, so I just pick up any book I can by Kigo Higashino. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to, and I'm going to go with The Hunger of Gods by John Gwynne. This is the 2nd book in the Shadow of Gods series. It is a Viking adventure fantasy, I guess, but I read the first one with my husband a couple months ago, and we're hoping to read the 2nd book next month, so in July. We're going to do a buddy read on it. So I'm really excited because I love the first book. And the 2nd book came out in April of 2022. So it's been out for a couple months, but we haven't gotten to read it. And it should be coming into my library relatively soon. Number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't usually anticipate releases, but I did look at what authors I've read are coming out with new books for the rest of the year. And I did see this one, which is Follow Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Chloe Gong wrote the These Violent Delights series, and I absolutely loved that. Well, I guess it was a duology. 2 books set in Shanghai in 1920s. They were a Romeo and Juliet retelling. And I love that series. And I guess spoilers for the 2nd book, the 2 main leads die at the end of the book. But this book actually follows Rosalind, who is the cousin of Juliet in that series, and she's the main character in this one. So I'm really excited because I thought there wasn't going to be any more more books that Chloe Gong would release about that world because, you know, the 2 main leads were dead. So but I was really excited that she is going to be continuing on. Yeah, that is going to be released in September of this year. Number 5, biggest disappointment. I have a few books that I read this year that I didn't really like, but the problem is, I have to go into it with high expectations to be disappointed, because if I go into it with oh, this is going to be an average book, I'm usually not that disappointed because I'm yeah, I didn't have high expectations for it anyway. But the one book I did have high expectations for, because there were quite a few people on YouTube that I enjoy watching their BookTube videos that said it was a great book, and that was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I did a 40-minute reading vlog of this earlier this year, and I had such high expectations for it, and I was so excited about it. I thought it was going to be a drama, and it was going to be a psychological type slow burn thriller, and yeah, it was YA, but the cover is gorgeous. So yeah, I gave it 1 star. I was so disappointed. Number 6, the biggest surprise. I'm going to give that to The Clackety by Laura Sneff. This book is actually coming out in a few days. It comes out June 28th, I think. So yeah, order this from the library or buy it. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. And I won this as a Goodreads giveaway, and I didn't really think of it. I didn't really think that much of it because I enter into a lot of Goodreads giveaways because I can't buy any books this year, so this is my way to get new books. And so when I won it, I was like, oh, cool, you know, it looked interesting. And then I read it and I loved it so much. It was so great. So it was definitely a surprise because my expectations were very low and my expectations were sent out of the building. So yeah, a really good book. Number 7, favorite new author, either debut or new to you. For that, I'm going to do new to me because I don't read many modern books, much less modern debut authors, but I'm gonna go with Umberto Eco, The Name of the Rose. This book was totally not what I was expecting, but it really made me in the mood to read more medieval things, which is probably why I actually picked up Canterbury Tales, because Canterbury Tales and this has a lot of semblance, even though this was written in like 70s, whereas that one was written like 1400s. So, but Umberto Eco is just such a unique author, and it's made me want to read more of his books. So expect me to read more of his books either this year or next year. Number 8. Newest fictional crush. I don't get crushes on characters like, oh, I'm like romantic interest in them. I just never have. Even like the YA books where there's the hunky guy, Edward from Twilight type teenagers. I just, no. However, I do get like crushes on like just the uniqueness of them, the funness of them, so it's less of like a romantic crush and it's more of like, I want to be BFFs with this person crush. So for that, I'm going to go with Bobby and Frankie from Why Didn't They Ask Evans by Agatha Christie. I loved these duos and I just want to go to the English countryside in like, when was it written? Like the 30s, and just solve cases with them because they seem like so much fun and I love them both. And yeah, I just want to go on adventures with them. Number 9, newest favorite character. I think I'm going to go with Bernadette from Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple, because Bernadette was such a unique character. I just found her to be so layered and interesting, and just the more you go on with the story, the more you understand her. And I think that's the best character to try to get to know, is someone you kind of unravel as the story goes along. So yeah, she was a fascinating character. Number 10, book that made you cry. Speaking of Chloe Gong, I'm gonna go with Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong because, yeah, spoilers. It's a sad ending, and it's a semi-sad ending because there's a lot of like positive things that happen at the ending too, but yeah, it was very sad, and yeah, I confess to crying at the end. Number 11, a book that made you happy. I'm going to go with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Maxey. It's a children's book. It's very simplistic, and I've heard that a lot of the writing is like, a lot of the quotes are like things you've already heard. So what's unique and new about it? It's not unique and new. And I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that it's these repeatable phrases that just put you in like a positive mood. What are you doing?
He just wants to play. You just want to play with me, and I'm trying to film a video. I'm trying to film a video.
Oh my gosh. Do you see him? Do you see him? He will not stop bothering me to play with him. He's the most playful little boy, but yesterday we took him to the vet to get some shots, so he was a very good boy for that though. Number 12, most beautiful book you've bought this year or received, because I haven't bought any books this year. For that one, I'm going to go with another one I received from a Goodreads giveaway, which I have not read, and that's When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. This is a time travel historical drama about this woman who lives in these two different eras. The 1700s, that's here, and then the early 1900s, that's here, the Gilded Age. And she has to decide which era she must live in, because she wakes up, every time she goes and sleeps, she wakes up in the opposite time period. It sounds like a fascinating book in general, but I loved this cover. Number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's no books that I like definitely need to read. There's a lot of books that I want to read by the end of this month. So I'm currently reading like Lonesome Dove. I also am about almost 100 pages into The City of God by St. Augustine. And if I'm doing a buddy read with David Wiley on that, and I really want to finish that by the end of the year. So we'll see if we do another buddy read for the second half, because we're only technically supposed to be reading the first half this month, and I think we're both struggling. It took me like the first 18 days to even get past the first chapter, so that tells you how I'm struggling. But my reading has been a lot of fun this year so far. Have you read any of these books? Do any of them look interesting? I purposely picked out different books for each answer so there wouldn't be any repeat books. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time now. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!